Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends.
It's the legendary Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends.
Raid Shadow Legends. You can play as the Raid or the Shadow Legend. I don't give a fuck.
I'm sure everyone watching this is familiar with Raid Shadow Legends. It's one of, if not the most infamous sponsor to come out of YouTube. That's because they would sponsor anyone and everyone. A couple years ago, these ads seemed inescapable. The worst part is, it's just a crappy mobile game that exaggerates and glorifies many of its basic features. But YouTubers were making bank promoting the game. No hate towards them whatsoever. In fact, Raid has been turned more into a meme than anything else. At this point, when audiences see a Raid Shadow Legends ad, they just kind of laugh it off. I feel like the reaction most people have to seeing them nowadays are, lol, you've been sponsored by Raid? Guess that means you've made it as a real YouTuber now. Get that bag, king. Most of the creators promoting Raid have probably never even played the game before, but thanks to their ruthless ad campaigns, they became a household name. Yes, like I said, I don't think Raid is a good game. I'll talk more about that later. But first, let's talk about their other problems. First of all, they claim to be one of the highest rated games in the App Store, but there are many allegations of Raid buying fake positive reviews. You can go to the App Store and read the negative reviews yourself. They're quite entertaining. Another bit of controversy that Raid found themselves in is in February of 2022. They tweeted out, "We do not sponsor. We cooperate only with those YouTubers who play our game and want to be our influencers. We do not pay money for it." At first, this may just look like a weird lie, which it is, but there's more to it than that. This statement is illegal. So first of all, they obviously do sponsor creators, not just cooperate, which means they do in fact pay money to these creators. If they didn't, no one would be talking about them. Except for me. No one's paying me to talk about them today. Please sponsor me, I'm desperate. Anyway, creators and brands legally have to be honest about brand deals. This is to avoid creators taking advantage of their impressionable audiences. This is why creators will say, "Thank you to Raid Shadow Legends for sponsoring this video," as opposed to, "Hey guys, download this game, it's fun." There's also a handy setting on YouTube to let the audience know that the video contains paid promotion. And if you don't follow this rule, you are directly violating the FTC, aka breaking the law. Which brings me back to this tweet where they directly say they don't sponsor creators. A couple days after this tweet, they addressed it with this Discord screenshot of all things. Here they mentioned how the tweet was exclusively referring to creators who make tutorials and reviews on their game, and not people who are part of their marketing campaign. To me, this whole thing feels like the dumbest case of miscommunication ever, or whoever wrote this just literally does not know what they were saying. Because it's hard for me to imagine somebody actually tweeted out this statement that is just so blatantly wrong. So I feel like I'm inclined to believe their response to the statement to be true, but how do you mess up this badly? Anyway, let's take a look at the actual game now. Okay, so the intro is really just to show off how freaking cool this game is. But in general, the opening is alright. It works as a tutorial and you get the personality of these characters and... oh, they're all dead. Why did we waste time with their dialogue? All we got was their basic ass personalities only for them to die. Okay, I'm complaining too much since this opening is not very long. And not gonna lie, I would have eaten up this game if I was a kid. But there's just one problem to that. I'm not a kid anymore. Do you see the beard? Watching their deaths nowadays feels more comical than anything else.
Every dragon has a weak spot. If I can hit it just right.
She doesn't even put up a fight. Neither do these guys. Like, they have shields that they're just not putting up and they're just rolling over and dying. I guess the dragon's just too strong and I have to be the one to kill it. What a good sense of organic motivation for the player, huh? After that, it's almost 15 minutes of tutorials where they throw a lot at you and expect you to remember it all. But to be fair, I didn't find Raid too complicated. And immediately after the tutorial is a pop-up for the starter pack, which gives you whatever this is for only $30. Now that's a steal. Maybe. Anyway, I bought it. So Raid Shadow Legends is a strategy-based RPG. But fuck strategy. You're gonna have this auto battler button on the entire time. In between levels, you can customize and upgrade your weapons, armor, and fighters. And there is a seemingly coherent plot to the game, not that I retained any of it. I feel like that's the best way I can describe it. It wasn't particularly interesting or anything, but at least it all makes sense as far as I can tell. I won't go over it in detail today because I don't think people who actually play the game even care about it. I also strangely couldn't find any summary of it on the wiki, but there are some lore videos out there if you're interested. Aside from the main campaign, there's a ton of other modes and missions to play, including limited edition ones to make you feel obligated to play so you keep coming back. They all more or less play the exact same way. So now, I will tell you my experience with Raid Shadow Legends. Let me set the scene. It all started about a week ago around 2 AM. I was laying in bed reading by candlelight, covered in Dorito crumbs. No wait, it was Cheeto crumbs. Regardless of the chip, I grew tired of the book, so I whipped out my cellular device and downloaded Raid Shadow Legends for the first time. I was so excited. Of course, from there I played the tutorial and bought the starter pack. After that, I really just played the campaign for a while. I equipped and leveled up the armor I had, watched the characters just blow through some levels, and weeped at the masterfully crafted story. But then suddenly, I hit a point in the campaign where I wasn't strong enough to continue. Emotions were high, but I knew I needed to persist. So I went to upgrade my characters, and I was able to max out one of them thanks to the XP boost and items I got from the starter pack. And then I went back to just staring at my screen as my character steamrolled the game. Not a single thought was going through my head as my troops effortlessly killed enemy after enemy. After about an hour of doing mostly that, and leveling up a bit, I was ready to call it quits for the night. That was until I saw there were playtime rewards for playing a certain amount of time every day, and I really wanted my 90-minute reward. So I then played for another 30 minutes to get it. In that time, I realized there was a way to level up characters past their max level. To do that, you need to sacrifice other champions, and you get more champions by summoning them. So you summon random ones based on what crystals you use, and their rarity varies from champion to champion. So what I'm trying to say is that this is gambling. And honestly, once I figured that out, I was furious. So I stopped playing, but not before claiming that 90-minute reward. So I then cleaned the Frito crumbs off of my sheets and went to bed. I tried to play more Raid the next day, but then I ran out of crystals to summon more champions, meaning I could no longer level up my champions until I got more crystals. I believe that crystals are just random drops, but I wasn't waiting until I got any more, nor was I going to spend money on them. I know I can get some free items by inviting my friends to play, but how was I supposed to know the only thing they play is Angry Birds Star Wars? I was spoiled with how many crystals I got from the starter pack, along with its other benefits, of course. I didn't even realize I was spending crystals to get champions. I thought it was just coins. And by the way, the reward for playing 90 minutes in one day is a very pathetic amount of coins. It is a terrible reward. Like I said, there are different game modes that play similarly to the campaign, and yes, there is strategy to the game with what champions you use in battle, thanks to this Pokemon-esque weakness system. And if you were wondering, yes, there is a huge meta to this game. Their subreddit is full of diehards. After all that, there's still one big thing I haven't mentioned. Oh my god, are there a crazy amount of microtransactions in this game. Every time you open up the game, and every time you go to the main menu, you will get multiple pop-ups to buy something. This game really wants you to buy something. Anything. Raid at its core is an idle and gacha game. A good way to look at it is instead of summoning champions, you're opening loot boxes. And once you run out of ways to summon the champions, the quickest, easiest, and most effective solution is to spend real money. If I had to say something nice about the game, it's that the art and animations aren't bad at all. It's not AAA graphics or anything, but it's good for a mobile game, and I can see why people get into the game. It's made to be addictive after all. It's designed in a way to get you hooked so you spend money on this terrible game. Anyway, that's all I got. Thanks for watching, and I hope you all have a happy Tuesday.